Okay, so this morning we're going to talk about something very important that I'm excited about. It's separating the goal from the work. Okay, separating the goal from the work. And what does this mean? Well, so we're all committed to writing down goals. So what happened was, whether you're in the same business as Angelique and myself, many of you are, but even if you're not, this will benefit you. After our big convention this week, we sat down with our team before we left the hotel, and we had everybody write down their goals, because this is the time that everybody's pumped up. So what happens is, I felt people feel this pressure to make this huge goal, right? Because you're in front of your peers and they're saying, what are you going to do this year? And everyone's like, well, I'm going to do this. And, the question is, great, but are you going to do it? Are you that committed? Because it's just like maybe a Facebook post. The fun part is writing it. The other part is really acting it out and making it happen. The exciting part is going to a convention. The hard work comes in the days following it, when your friends aren't there, when you don't have 7,000 to 8,000 people fist pumping you, and you realize that, no, it's just you. So this is your ride or die commitment. I've used that word. What is your stretch goal? What are you going to do? But ride or die. Not what you'd like to see done. And my friend Michael Klaus has a great quote. And this quote, listen up, because it's so important. He says, if you don't believe you actually have a shot at it, it won't matter. I'll repeat it. If you don't believe that you actually have a shot at this, then it won't matter. So you can say whatever you want about your goals. You can say what you're going to do. You can tell the whole world, I'm going to stand up, I'm going to sign up 70 people in the next couple months. But if you don't believe that in here, if you don't believe you actually have a shot at it, then it doesn't really matter. So I told Angelique when we left there, I said, we're not going to sit at this same table with the same people in 2 years from now listening to the same goals, because we know that some people have done that. I'm going to do this. And they said it 2 years ago. And then I told the people at that table that we were with, I wrote them all in a private message. And I said the same exact thing. I said, guys, what's going to be different? Because we are not going to sit there at the same table in 2 years talking about these same goals that you said 2 years ago that you're going to hit them now. Because that's just lip service, and it doesn't do anybody any good. But, that goes for all of us. Chris Harder, one of my friends, goes, I work with people.
Already disrespect me.
Hold on.
Scream in my face.
Hold on. I gotta mute you guys.
I don't think so.
All right. I'm muting you. All right. Chris Harder, my mentor, we were asking me, he goes, I work with people until they are either two things, self-sufficient or dead. Work with people till they're either they're self-sufficient, they're doing things on their own, and you're not really having to micromanage them and help them too much, or they're just dead, they're off. But I'm not going to sit there and watch them with their big floaties in their arm, going around the pool, holding them underneath the water, going, you're going to get there. You're going to be able to swim someday. Now, this is a tough lesson, but it's so important, guys. And I say this looking into the mirror, turning it on myself. What am I going to do different? Because it's easy for me to stand up there and say, hey, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. But now it comes to, after this call, what am I going to do to keep myself in action? So that's not to say if we have a product user that we're not going to coddle them. I'm talking about people who state that they want to do this business, that they're big grown-ups that we all are, and say, hey, I'm going to do this business. Now, if you're a product user and you want to be on the product forever, that's fine. I will love you and love you and love you the whole time. I'm trying to use it. Okay, so I wrote down my intentions and I did some daily incantations, and I'm going to share them with you in a little bit, but I'm going to tell you a couple of stories. And this is so important, so listen up, because belief is essential. But if you've never done something, you've never accomplished it, then how do you do it? Right? We say we're going to do this, but you've never really done it, so how are you going to do it? So Angelique mentioned the guy Roger Bannister. Raise your hand if you know who Roger Bannister, if you've heard of the name. I'm going to fill you in a second. Roger Bannister. He's the first guy to break the 4-minute mile. Okay? So going back to, if you've never done something, how do you know how to do it? Or even if it can be done. So no one had ever ran a sub 4-minute mile. This was this big, huge milestone. But there's Roger Bannister, right? He didn't just believe he can do it. He didn't just say, yeah, I'm going to do it and state his goals, right? Because belief is great. You have to have belief. Because if you don't believe, like Michael Klaus said, if you don't believe you can do it, then it won't really matter anyway. If it's not real in here and you don't say, I really have a shot at this, when you're laying down at night in your bed and you're just by yourself, if you don't have the confidence and belief, then you don't have a shot of it. So belief is the one part, but Bannister just sit there every day and say, I believe I can run a 4-minute mile. I can believe I can run a sub-4-minute mile. And then one day he woke up and did it. No, he ran. He practiced. So I'm going to let you a little thing. Now he did it. He broke the record in 1954, okay? He broke the record in 1954, but here's 1949, he ran a 4-minute and 11-second mile. The same year, he ran a 4-minute and 14-second mile. In 1950, he ran 4:13. Then he ran a 4:09 in December of 1950, okay? 1951, he ran a 4:08 and a 4:07. So here he's trying to break this, and he's fluctuating a little bit, getting a little bit better, and then he had a couple setbacks. In the 1952 Olympics, in the 1500, which is not quite a mile, it's a little bit less than a mile, the 1500, he finished 4th. And he's supposed to be the best runner in the world. So he was devastated. And he almost gave up on his goal. At that point, after the Olympics, he spent 2 months deciding whether to even give up on his goal and whether he was going to run anymore. But he set himself a new goal. That's when he said, I'm going to be the first man to break this 4-minute mile. Okay? And he intensified his training. He upped his intervals, made them harder. So this is the metaphor for what we're going to do here in our business. We're going to intensify our training. You're going to set your goal, and you're not just going to have the belief, although the belief is essentially crucial. It's the work that comes after. And in May of 1953, he ran a 4:03. So you see the progression. Some of you guys, as long as you're progressing, Abe Lincoln said, I may move slowly, but I never go backwards. I may move slowly, but I never go backwards. So in 1953, here he is at 4:03, so close. And on May 6, 1954, in Oxford, England, he ran a 3-minute and 59-second mile. A 3-minute and 59-second mile. But here's the key, guys. Does anybody know how long that record lasted? That record, that milestone that lasted for you? 46 days. 46 days. On June 1st of that same year, there was a guy from Finland who broke his record with a time of 3 minutes and 59 seconds. Now, you might say, wow, that kind of sucks. He worked his whole life to break this record, and a guy broke it, just 46 days later. I think what happens was the mindset changed. The mindset. Can you imagine? So if you've never been a millionaire in this company and there was no one that made $1 million in a year, who did it first? Someone had to sit back and go, you know what? I think I can make $1 million in this company in 1 year. And everyone else probably said, wow, that's got to be tough. You're going to have to work your tail off. And then they did it. And then what happened? Someone else did it, and someone else did it, because they knew it could be done. The belief of one person led everybody else to believe it could be done. So if you're working in your neighborhoods, if you're working with your friends and people on your team, and they're saying, they're looking at you, do it. To prove to yourself that you can do it, but to prove to the rest of your team that, look, it can be done. Herb Cepeda sat up there and he said, we have, I think, 24 people who've made $1 million in our business this year. He goes, but in the next 5 years, we might have 200. That number is going to grow exponentially as we expand. Here's the other part, guys, before I let you guys start commenting on this. Have you ever heard the famous phrase, Rome wasn't built in a day, right? I love it. Rome wasn't built in a day. And someone needed to remind me of that, right? And it's true. It takes time, it takes years to master something, to build something. So it wasn't built in a day, but guess what? They were laying bricks every single hour in Rome. They were always laying bricks. And you know how long it really took them to build that empire? 1,009,491 days, or about 276 years. But everyone says Rome wasn't built in a day. Well, what does that mean? Well, what went into those years? What went into all that work? Remember, back in this time, there was no big labor. There was no big heavy trucks, no cement trucks, no cranes, no power saws, no power tools. They built it literally one brick at a time. So we always look for the final result in our goals, whether it's weight loss, whether it's our business. but we're not looking at the journey. We're not looking right now where the sweat equity comes in. And you have to prove to yourself each day that you can do this. And you prove to it by creating new habits. You prove to it one step at a time. As I woke up this morning and I opened that vitamin pack and I made myself take the vitamins. It's not that hard. It's all in a pack. And I said, look, but that's the second day of my new body challenge here, my IsoBody challenge. Am I going to take that pack tomorrow? And tomorrow, am I going to take that pack in the morning 2 weeks from now? Am I going to take that pack in the morning 3 months from now? It's simple. It's just laying a brick. It's not building a building, but it's the habit of getting in that little habit that's going to make me healthier. So focus on your habits, because that's more important than worrying about what the outcome is. If you have this huge stretch goal where you know you have to be in 90 days, yeah, you want to have it in your head. But what are the things that you have to focus on every day? What are the things you have to focus on? Because there's nothing necessarily impressive about laying one brick. If you wake up and lay one brick, you look and go, geez, I just laid a brick. It's not really that impressive. If I woke up and took that vitamin pack, do I look any different? Do I feel any different? No, but it's the constant repetition of laying brick after brick after brick. It's that first workout in your IsoBody challenge, and you look down and say, nothing's changed. But it's the second and the third. And pretty soon you look back 3 weeks later and you're like, hey, look, I got a foundation here. I got a foundation. And then you look back in 2 months, you say, whoa, I'm building something impressive. And then you look back like Daniel, and you look back like Damon, and every other one of you, David, every other one of you that's crushed this IsoBody challenge. And you look back on our businesses at what we've done, and you look back in the six, the 100, the 90 to, what is the time period?
Oh my God, are you serious?
The 16 weeks. I'm on a roll here. You look back, you look back in your 16 weeks, and you realize that you built something. So it's not a grand feat of strength or stamina or intelligence. Nobody's going to applaud you for the little things. It's the little things that make the big things. Laying a brick every day, week after week, month after month, year after year. That's how you built an empire. That's how Angelique and I have built this. We've been steady, laying bricks. So you start small, you focus on improving 1% each day, and you put another rep, you put another phone call, another sign up, and then you have it. And the real goal is to make progress with your life. When you do a little something each day, you make the progress. And this message, guys, this message I wrote down last night, and then this morning I woke up and I read my book, Jesus CEO. And the first page, when you talk about divine intervention, the first page talks about, you're not going to believe this. He took one step at a time. So I'm writing this about Rome and Roger Bannister last night, getting ready to talk to you guys. And I wake up this morning and I open to my book, and he took one step at a time. I mean, thank you for giving me that. Mm-hmm. And there's a famous author, her name is Louise Hay, and they said, how did you get to do such great work? And she quoted herself as saying, it was simple. I just did the next thing in front of me and helped out where I could. What's in front of you right now today when you get off this call? What's in front of you later on or tomorrow? The temptation to have everything done at once and perfectly often leads to procrastination, inactivity, and outright paralysis. You don't have to have it all done at once. You only have Martin Luther King. You don't have to see the whole staircase. You only have to take the first step. Guys, this is something, you see all the famous people, all the quotes that lead back to this, okay? And it says, the last part, even if you're going to fall, you fall forward because the deep water is where the fish are. Leadership doesn't come with a detail-filled certified map. It's one general sense of direction. Even Jesus, clear as he was about his calling, had to get his instructions one day at a time. One time he was told to wait, another time he was told to go. So what I've done, guys, and I'll share my screen with you real quickly here, is this is in my cabinet that I have to wake up every day and see, where the first place I go to in the morning. Then I wrote down my incantations, and I put a picture of the Roman Colosseum to remind me every day that Rome was not built in a day, that I have to lay brick by brick by brick, and I have something that will stand for centuries if I do this the right way. And my incantations are, I pledge to live with integrity, to not blame, but to work harder. I pledge to be congruent with my faith and lead like Jesus. I pledge to work harder than I've ever worked in my life and not be afraid of failure. I pledge to squash all negativity with a flood of energy and positive thought, and I vow to excel. So when negativity comes into your head, you have to squash it with a flood of positivity, not just a little bit, but a lot. So brick by brick, day by day, you will build this. If the belief is not in your head, then you are already destined to fail. You have to believe first. Damon, go ahead.
Thank you, and good morning to everybody. But I'm glad you brought this topic up because it's one of the things that, well, as far as weight loss goes, I've done it and I've had great results and everything, but building a business has been somewhat slow and kind of almost difficult for me. And the things that you are speaking of is kind of what I've been going through, and I haven't been really focused on just the small things in front of me, especially like coming out of an event like that. You see so many people that have just exploded their businesses and have done really well. And then I look back and I really haven't done quite the things I've seen being done. And it does kind of paralyze me a bit. I'm just a moment of flat out honesty here. And you see those things and you think, oh, well, I didn't do that. But then I'm just glad you said what you said, because it allows me to refocus on, on putting that brick down instead of worrying about building a wall. Just worry about putting one brick down in front of me, and that will help me to focus on just what I need to do. And it's what do I have to do today to make my business better and to make myself better as far as building my business. So, and just as you said that, I started thinking, what can I do today? Who can I talk to today? And I've got, I have that in mind. And now I have actually a few goals of a few people that I know I want to talk to, and a few things I know I want to read, and I know a video that I want to do. And these are things I want to do today. And then not that I will worry about the rest later, but I will focus on those things right now.
Sorry. Thank you. Your ability to lose that weight. You didn't wake up on the third day of your challenge and say, hey, I haven't lost 100 pounds yet. But you had that goal in your mind that's what you wanted to do. So you take the same thing. Now, after we come back from an event like this or anything in life, sometimes there's going to be monotony, and it's the hard work that nobody sees. When people are up on stage in the business and they're holding up that check or they're being recognized for number one, you see that. You don't see the late nights on the phone. You don't see the people that quit on them and they had to pick themselves up and say, I'm going to keep going anyway. You don't see the sacrifice where they maybe had to turn off the TV or miss a football game or not go out to do the work. So what we have is this, there's a law of diminishing return that is stated, and Chris told me about this. It's like when you have that cheeseburger, right? That's a good cheeseburger. And the second time somebody gives you, hey, that's a good cheeseburger. But the third and fourth time, it's like, and by the fifth or sixth time, you're like, I've had that already. So life will get monotonous and it's boring, but it's the people who have mastered the monotony, who have mastered the ability to say, I have to do this anyway, and make one small step today, even if it's a little thing. And then when you do it, say, okay, what else can I do before I really call it a day? Because we all need to have a balance in our life. If you woke up and did this from every waking moment, you would drive yourself crazy. So what you do is you push and you reward yourself with balance. And I think you will survive that way. Go ahead, Ange.
So this is quite honestly probably one of my favorite topics. And the reason why is it's something that we've had to do over and over and over again. And we had to do it in a really nasty place. And if any of you were at New Year Kickoff and saw David's presentation, he talked about the roller coaster of life. I mean, literally that was a fraction. He had to fit that into like a 4-minute story. That was a fraction of what was going on in our life. You see a picture, but you don't know the amount of stuff that is going on day in and day out to lead up to those really big events, right? Stuff that could be massive distraction. So what you have to do is narrow your focus, and you have to stay in the zone for each of those items and roles that you have in your life that are causing those screen pop-ups, right? They're an annoyance almost many times. And you think, why? I can't understand these life events. Now, regardless of where you are in your life, okay, there's circumstances, there's events, there's pain associated with those events. We all feel pain the same way, but the suffering is a choice, right? I always talk about this. Suffering is a choice. It is a choice. What can you do? Like Damon said, what can you do right now to be better? What can you do right now to be grateful? What can you do right now to snap out of that state? Just right this minute to feel better this minute. Because that will, you go to emotions, they do not come to you. Write that down. We go to emotions, they do not come to us. We choose those emotions. So regardless of what's going on in your life, you're choosing an emotion in that very moment. We are going to those emotions with all that inspiration during New Year kickoff. We are going to the emotions during a day. This is an example that yesterday, Ella, 5 years old, had just a bad day, right? Just not really waking up on the right side of the bed, upset that school was not, on yesterday because of Martin Luther King's birthday, all of these things. And then at the end of the day, she had a great day, and then something happened in the evening, and she's like, this was the worst day of my life. Now, mind you, self-development people here, and my daughter is going, this was the worst day of my life, and she's 5. I was like, did you die? Are you bleeding? Did anyone in your family get hurt? Are they dead? Like going over it, I said, look, you can't have a bad 5 minutes and milk it for 24 hours. I will talk to my 5-year-old the same way I talk to all of you and the same way I talk to my husband. We choose. We choose the zone that we're in, and we choose what we focus on. And in order to narrow it, we can't look at the people on stage and the goals that we want and that big goal and not pull it back into a bite-sized piece. We want the 5-course meal. Everybody does. Everyone wants that lifestyle. But you got to clean your palate, and you got to start with some sherbet. You got to clean your palate. If you don't, you won't be able to enjoy course 1, period. So when you're looking at your 90-day game plan goal, which we didn't even have these, by the way, when we started, and you say, okay, I want to be, 4-star golden circle, 3-star crystal executive. That is not going to mean anything if you don't know how many people you're going to add, how many consultants you're going to create, how many managers you're going to make, how many directors you're going to lead, how many executives are going to come out of that. You break it down by focusing on the steps to get there and the people to get there. And your rank, your goal will come as a result of you pouring that energy into the people and the lives and the souls that you pick up and you talk to on a daily basis when you don't feel like it. When you're bored out of your mind, you're like, I can't believe I've had all these no's and I have the energy sucked out of me. Now I've got to make another phone call. I don't really feel like doing this sign up. I don't want to do this 3-way call. I don't want to get on another call. Like, you're looking for inspiration in any format. So you get on these things, right? And that's what I talked about too from stage. Inspirational entertainment. I talk to you guys about that all the time. You got to stop for that. You have to stop. Come here for the inspiration, stay for yourself, get off and move into action. That's it. But you need a list of items. What is it that you're going to be trying to do to accomplish these goals? What are the items during the day that are going to help you get there? You have a million things that you probably do day to day. How many of them are income producing activities? You're going to have a no money list. This is what I teach to my team all the time. And you're going to have a mo money list. Break down from every single item you do during the day. What does not contribute to my goal? Put them over here. And what does? So the mo money list is going to have your non-negotiable items for self-care and for family and for producing income. And then we're going to eliminate all the distractions that are stepping in the way. Because why? Ladies, you'll get up and you'll do a pile of dishes just to sedate yourself, or 4 loads of laundry just to sedate yourself from doing the one thing that you're resisting the most that is going to get you to your end goal. Because why? We have that habit. We have the ability to think that that's some kind of weird therapy before we have to resist doing the activity that's actually going to get us to the end result. Men, you do the same thing. Maybe it's football. Maybe it's a binge watching of a certain TV series. Who the hell knows? I don't know what your Achilles is, but we're all choosing to sedate ourselves in another way. Some of you will go inside a pantry and eat instead. Like, these are the things, whether it's your business goal or your body goal, you find a way to resist. And the resistance is what's going to kill you if you don't run through it. It will kill you. So when you're doing this and you're step by step by step, you got to bite it down. Bite it down. Start with applesauce. Do everything you can, and know mastering the applesauce is going to be the compound effect that gets you to the filet at the end of the meal. You got to bite it down, just like Rome, brick by brick by brick. Boring shit by boring shit by boring shit until it's done.
Go ahead, Christine Pritchard. Whoops, hold on. I unmuted you at the same time you did.
Okay. I keep lowering my hand because, as always, every time I want to say something, Angelique rocks it and I'm just left speechless. So the only thing I keep resonating with this morning is that we have to really start, well, what's worked for me in the past, and I don't know about anyone else, but it's trusting and falling in love with the process. So loving that, doing the boring shit daily. So just, being excited about the next person you get to talk to. Not that the next person might sign up, but that you're going to share with them what you know and what's possible, and they're going to do what they're going to do. But you have to love being the one that gives them the opportunity to hear what's up next, and you have to love going to the gym 6 days a week and doing the boring routine. And if you can love that, the results will follow. It's just, if you decide that you're only going to love going to the gym when you see an ab, you may be set up for failure right away. Maybe, if it takes 6 weeks to see progress and you quit on 5.5 weeks because you just don't love the process, that makes your battle every day that much tougher on yourself. So I think that's what I've embraced. I get to a point now when I set an appointment with somebody for that first phone call, I almost know in my head that there's a good chance they're not going to answer. And for the first 6 weeks doing this, every time they missed that first call, I was like, oh, it's the end of the world. But now I understand people are rotten. People are flaky and will just, oh, was that today? Yeah, I asked you 3 times. So, and you just pick up and go on. So
that's their own mechanism for avoiding their beliefs and their goals. It's a conscious decision to avoid that. We had someone say that they had to cancel a call because they were shoveling snow, as if that was more important than changing your life. Now, here's the thing, guys. Your belief, like we said, is the most important, because a small series of victories leads to the end goal. But if you reverse engineer that, it could have an opposite and devastating effect. If you set the same goal year after year, and you're showing yourself time after time that you can't hit it, what happens to your head? You start to convince yourself. You're like, you might be saying the right things to everybody else, that I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. But in your head, you're telling yourself, I've said that for the last 3 years and I haven't done it. So I know I'm not going to do that. And pretty much you are setting up yourself for self-sabotage, because you have to prove to yourself. There's nobody else. Don't prove it to your spouse, your friend, your teammate, your boss, anybody. Prove it to yourself. And here's a great example. Yesterday, Martin Luther King Day. Okay? You take one of the greatest leaders of all time. How many times do you think Martin Luther King had to rise above and keep going in the face of adversity when people weren't following him? When people said, you're crazy, or giving him death threats, or saying, hey, you know what? You're biting off more than you can chew. You've done enough. Just quit. Threatening his life. But he said, no, I'm going to keep going. And I don't care who's behind me. If I'm the only one in the street walking, then that's fine. Then I'll do it. And that takes a belief. And what happens is the greatness is in all of us. But who's pouring it into you? You got to pour it into yourself. It starts with yourself. But then you also need a teammate. You need someone, because there are going to be times when you're going to want to fall. And someone's going to need to get up underneath your arm and put their arm around you and then come up and bring you up and start walking with you. But you can be that leader. You have to set the example. And it's small steps. And you are the most important person right now in this process. Starts here, day one, the most important person in this process, with self-talk, doing the little things, and saying, you know what, maybe I won't go to the gym today. It's snowing outside. Maybe I'll just have that French fries instead of ordering the sweet potatoes with this meal. It's that tiny, tiny decisions on a daily basis. It's brick by brick.
Jesus was the best network marketer of all time. We're talking about Jesus, CEO, and the book David's reading. He started with 12 people. He started with 12, and it's the most published book in history. You know, billions of people are believers and have been believers. And that doesn't mean that that's because our beliefs and that's your beliefs. All I'm saying is that somebody with unshakable belief, just like Martin Luther King, with unshakable belief and vision and understanding, because he just knew who he was. I know who I am. You get clear on your role and nothing will stop you. Good thing is none of us here are going to be crucified. He knew he was going to die. You guys can do this and know that you're not going to be crucified. You're not going to be hung on a cross. You're not going to have to carry that across and be beaten and to a pulp and hung there for all to see. What's the worst that can happen? You get a no? What is the worst that can happen? You know what your biggest fear should be? What your life will look like if you don't. What will your life look like if you don't? Compound that feeling over 5 years, over 10, over 20, over the next 75. How young are you? How old are you? How long are you going to be in doing this? David and I will not stop, period. Like, this is the one thing that I know for certain that I will never stop doing. When I was in corporate, when I did martial arts for a living, even though I loved him at the time, I never ever said I could see myself doing this for the rest of my life. And this, what lights my fire every day, is getting on the phone with like the people that I got on the phone with yesterday and the stories. The lighting up of their bodies on the inside. The why of, even if they already make 6 or 7 figures in their life, think to themselves how financially this could contribute to their family's legacy. Like, there's lots of whys. If you dig deep enough, even for the ones that you think have it all, there are whys there. You just have to know how to ask the right questions. Mm-hmm. You got to have a candid conversation with somebody like they're your old friend.
So
it's so important, guys, that you understand that when your why and your fear are on equal playing field, instead of making your fear so much bigger than the why, get them on equal playing field. My why is here. It's heavy and it's big and it's grandiose, but it wasn't always that way, right? Some people are afraid of the why. It's okay. What excites you right now? What will freedom be like in your life right now? What does freedom mean to you? And then your fear. Holy shit, what will my life look like if I don't do this? If it's the same right now in 20 years, but the compound effect of this burden, of this mediocrity, of this I don't like this complacency feeling, what will that feel like in 20 years if nothing changes? Boy, I'll tell you what, that makes me get up out of my chair. It makes me get up out of my chair and rise to my feet. Because I will not settle for that feeling. Never, ever, ever. Not for me, not for my family, not for any of you.
Guys, this is so funny. I mean, Angelique and I are so passionate about this. We're looking at so many of you. So many of you are new, and this is a product we knew we were probably going to have a lot of people today because it's fresh and we're all pumped up. I'm looking at my friend Denise up there. Hi, Denise. How are you? And it reminds me. So again. I'm gonna continue to talk about this Jesus CEO book because one of the things, and I'm gonna do a live on this later on. It talks about this funny chapter about. Does anybody know people used to keep plastic on their couch? I mean, this is an older thing. Maybe people don't do it as much. So a little older people kept plastic on their couch, and it says, you know what? The people, hey, look at that couch, 20 years old, still looks good because you had the plastic on it. And the message is, what are you saving it for? And this is important because you have it in you. And I look at Denise, and every time she's anywhere, she's on fire. She's not saving it for anybody. She's letting it all out there every single time. She's the first one to volunteer. She's always on point. Every day she's waking up on fire, not saving it for anybody, not putting plastic on her personality, not putting plastic over her dreams. And she's going for it. And the book says, if you believe in a just cause, you'll do whatever it takes. And I love this one. It says, you will be just as innovative as a college freshman desperate to see his girlfriend 600 miles away. Can you imagine? You know, when you're in puppy love, what, my girlfriend? I'll take a bus there. Well, I have to walk 5 miles. I don't care. So we get passionate about things, and this is my favorite one. The acronym WOWS, WOWSE, WOWSE, and it means say to myself, with or without somebody else. So I'm going to do this with or without somebody else. Remember that, because there's some people that you're waiting for on your team. If they just do it, I'm going to take off. If I can just sign this person, if I could just get this person who's been this product user to do it, my business is going to take off. You know what? With or without somebody else. Because you may be waiting for that person for the next 10 years. It's not up to them. You got to wake up on fire. Take the plastic off the couch. Stop saving whatever it is you're saving. That moment where you think, hey, I'm going to be able to do this, and do it one moment at a time. Put something on a cupboard today, your coffee mug cupboard, your medicine cabinet, that reminds you, like I did with the Roman Colosseum, build it one brick at a time. You got to have a constant reminder. Whatever it takes to motivate yourself, get something. Wake up on fire like Denise does. I'm sure Denise doesn't have every day, which is awesome. I'm sure she's had some days which have been tough. But man, you really don't know it, because she always brings it to the table. And I look up to that. Damon, there's so many of you guys. I mean to pick out certain people, but I do. But so many of you guys you've gone through adversity, and I don't see you guys in a bad mood. And I know you have bad days. But the key is to bring it every day. Go ahead, Shannon Murphy.
Hi, everybody. I just wanted to put in something that was not business related that I'm doing. I've been doing a lot of research on it's a concept. It's called intersectionality, and it's pretty much like a net that pays attention or captures stories of people who generally fall through the loops. So it's more than just equality and things like that, but it's to serve everyone as a whole. But I decided that I could research this stuff all day long and get more and more information, or I could actually take a step towards it and then progress from there. So they're doing a big women's march in DC this weekend, and they're having one in St. Louis. So I'm going to go to that on Saturday, and I'm scared to death. I've never done anything like that. I have no idea what to expect. Nor do I expect to come back a changed person or change the world, but it will change what I do from that point on. And if I don't do that, it will be something that I regret. And that will make me not sleep well at night. And so sometimes it's more of, how are you going to face yourself the next day? And if you don't like that outcome, then you have to do something to change it. That's where people get squirmy. You don't have to live squirmy. You just have to do something.
I just want to give Shannon some major love, guys, because this woman here, are you okay if I just kind of share with what's going on? Okay, so she joined my challenge, my 6-week challenge, and outside of that 6-week challenge, they think they came for a body transformation, and they got something else, right? So that's what we got told. That's kind of my entire philosophy in life. So here's what I wanted to share about Shannon. Copious, beautiful note taker. Are you having notes right there? Can you show them an example of how gorgeous?
Okay, they've gotten better. I'm only on a half a page, and they're key points.
Bow on it. Like, put bows on their notes. So, like, this woman can take like the most beautiful notes you ever saw. But I was like, Shannon, it's not about the note. It's not about the list. Like, leaders take notes, yes, but they actually implement the notes in a practical way. So I challenged her. I was like, how about we start doing some of these things? What are we going to do to make these changes and snapping people out of states? And she made such a radical transformation and it was a 6-week challenge, but I think that came right around week 2 or 3 where I was like, whoa. I mean, she went from here to, moved the needle like I have never seen someone move a needle. And this was a woman that when she was sitting across on a Zoom call and she was in this state of mind, and I can see it in her physiology. I was like, hey, Shannon, do me a favor and stand up. Like, snapped her out of her pattern, right? Stand up. She goes, oh, I don't want to stand up. I'm so sorry. I said, get up out of your chair and stand up. So she stands up and then she leans over the computer. She's like, okay, I'm standing. I said, you're not standing. You're leaning. Get up. Changed her posture, got up. I made her shoulders go back, her head up. I said, we need to start breathing deeper and talking differently. And as soon as she did that, like, everything changed. The next call, she had like beautiful bright lipstick on and her posture, and she was smiling. And it was like her physiology just kept changing over and over and over again. Because, guys, we have to be okay with calling ourselves out and calling the people that we love out on their own shit. Because we live in this cultural, mythical society where we pat people on the back for mediocrity. We pat people on the back for things staying the same. We pat people on the back for the bad day. That's got to stop. That has to stop. None of us will change. This world will not get better for our children if we're okay with okay. If we're okay with staying the same. I refuse, absolutely refuse. Like my daughter knows, my 5-year-old is well aware that mommy does not fall for that.
And people, I think, get disabled by giving them a reason, a pat on the back. It gives them an excuse to not do anything. They can revel in that nothingness, and it's
rewarded for it.
And it's not I shouldn't say it's not a hard thing. You can decide to change, which means to not be the same person that you were right then. So whether that's your mind, whether that's you get up out of the chair and actually stand up, or something, it does not have to be this radical, shift right then. But there's always something that you can do at the moment to shift your stance on whatever it is. It does not have to be, and I'm a stay-at-home mom, and I watch my nieces, and I can still make things happen, and anybody can. And it just could be a matter of changing your posture or stop writing and start doing something. It's kind of, and then it becomes its own high because you get shit done.
It's pretty epic. And it's the physiology. Same thing with Ella yesterday. She had the look on her face. She had her shoulders down. And then I made her laugh. And I was like, oh, don't do that. You'll mess it up. You'll mess up your bad day right now if you start laughing. And she couldn't stop laughing. I was like, see, we go to the emotion. We go to the emotion. They don't come to us. And it's just so important that you guys get that, because when you're in the middle of this 90-day game plan, you have to find the same state that you felt when you were sitting at New Year kickoff. You have to find the same state that you felt when you made a commitment to do something or you had your day of disgust. You go to that state. It is a state of mind. It's a physiology. You choose where you want to be at that moment. And it's so important for you to actually get things done. I know what it's like to be in the state of mind that doesn't get anything done because I've been there before. And I'm like, okay, this is something I don't want to master. This does not feel good. We haven't got anything done. We look at each other. We call each other out. We have arguments. It's not fun. And it starts to wear away in your relationships.
And I want to talk about that. Angelique, when you're sitting there talking, I'm looking at David and Annalisa up there. David, Annalisa, what time is it where you are? Hold on, I got to take you off mute. What time is it?
It's 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock right now. 5:16
in the morning.
Yeah.
So
they got up at
it's so easy
4 o'clock.
It's so easy to talk about business. It's easy to talk about bodies. Well, I just want to, if you guys could give us a moment of education about your relationship and what you've done together. And now you don't have to tell us the whole story, the Cliff Notes, but I'll give you. David moved to Hawaii. That's why he's at 5 o'clock in the morning. And Annalisa was here waiting to go over to clear some things up, and you're together again. But, we talk about doing things to help a relationship work over the years and really what that means to you, and we know how it can be easy to quit a business. It can be a body challenge, but what have you guys done to really help keep your relationship strong? Because I love the way you guys love each other.
You want to go? So that 4 months was a little bit brutal on us because we were apart. We've been apart before, and about 13 years ago we were apart, and you know that, Dave. But this time was different, and there was 4 months that was brutal, and we found out how close we were. It brought us closer together, and we're now focused on doing us, We've done our kids. We've raised our children. We need to do us to make life better for our whole family.
We build each other up. Always. That's,
One of the biggest things I love is when I see teenage kids, friends of our sons, putting us down as relationship goals, because it's like, oh, we've done it. We've done what we wanted to do. Now we just got to go to that next level, and I think we're on our way. We missed these, and because that 4 months, we kind of both I went away from the business a little bit. I know we both did. I focused on my job out here in Hawaii, which I do love, by the way. And now we want to focus on this together. And I know my wife can take care of all the business side of it. We can both jibber jabber all we want, you know that. But yeah.
I wanted to kind of highlight you guys for a second because I realized that what happens is, you know what, there's so much of life that gets in the way. There's so much of other things, you know, like it's very hard. And we always use that analogy where there's, again, I'm going back a ways, but the guys that used to spin plates on sticks and they're spinning a plate and they run over here and they have like 5 or 6 plates spinning. So when you come home, you know, for 2 days, you are laser focused in a room with 7,000 or 8,000 people on one goal. Really? And then you come home and you got kids and you're spinning this plate. And then you got your relationship with your spouse or your girlfriend or your boyfriend, or just you're spinning this plate. And then, you know, you have maybe there's snow outside and you're trying to spin that plate of just getting somewhere today. And it becomes very difficult. And you say, geez, I'm trying to do a lot of things at once. Then you go back to where we started this, laying one brick at a time, telling yourself, what is my goal? How am I going to get there? I can't run a sub 4-minute mile right now, but do I believe that I can do it? And then how will I get there? How will I have the vision to get there? So whether it's your relationship, the big things in life, relationships, kids, you know, money, and your body. If you're journaling, if you haven't journaled or done it, I suggest doing it. I did it ever since I was 18. And what happens is you look back as a tool and you realize, I worry about these major things in life, but they never go away, right? Your relationships, your money, your career, and your body are always the things that you write about. Little things come and go, but those are the things 10 years from now that you'll still be the major points in your life. So if you're not addressing them in a major way right now, when you're pushing them to the back burner, that's when it's going to come back to bite you. Because it's the foundation, those bricks that lay a foundation that help you achieve other things. And it goes back to things we were talking about, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. If you don't have your foundation and the basics, it's very hard for you to achieve anything at the top of that pyramid because you're always constantly worrying about that foundation. And these are the foundations, they're not easy. Keeping a relationship together is not easy. Raising children is not easy. Your career, whatever it may be on the side, to focus on that and still do this business, because I would venture to say probably 90% of you guys on this call are working and trying to do Isogenics at the same time. That's not easy. But are you building and building and building, or are you letting your belief system reverse engineer itself and saying, I can't do it, I can't do it, I can't do it because I haven't proven it to myself? Prove it to yourself today. Put something up that's going to inspire you, not just today, but for the rest of this year, that you're going to see every day. Whatever motivates you, it's got to be visual. And then let it happen. And find somebody or a tribe of people that will hold you accountable. Get your tribe. And then most importantly, your internal anchors. Your internal anchors, you know, what I call sometimes your dark side. That's what in the book Relentless, that's what it talks about. The darker side, your internal anchors, what really drives you. Maybe it's you want to do better than your next door neighbor. Maybe it's you want to do better than your college rival or whatever.
But don't get caught up in comparing, because comparing creates and breeds a spirit of lack. Okay,
right. But at the same time, if we go back to a sports analogy, everybody has a rival. Larry Bird wanted to beat Magic Johnson. Muhammad Ali wanted to beat George Foreman. You know, all these people, they have someone that pushes them. Mm-hmm. Kobe was Kobe because he wanted to be better than Michael. And the same thing we see now with LeBron James, the comparison. And I think Michael Jordan was the ultimate competitor. And sometimes he sacrificed probably other parts of his life for that, because sometimes people get so wrapped up in competition that they block out stuff. Now, I heard a story about Arnold Schwarzenegger back in the day, and I always thought, wow, that was crazy. He said that he missed his dad's funeral because he had a competition and he didn't want to go back for it. Later on, I think that came out as it was kind of a embellishment. But some people get so wrapped up in their goals that they sacrifice other parts of life. But what I'm saying is the dark side, the competitive side. Yeah, oh yeah. I'm not saying compare yourself to everybody, but we need a competitive side.
No, so my competitive side, and maybe this will help some of you guys, because a lot of times when you talk about that dark side or the competitive nature, that we're looking for someone to beat. And when you get into a place of beating someone, and that doesn't happen, it breeds that spirit of lack and scarcity. So yes, you can have a goal and want to attain where someone else is, or, you know, have that set as an example, but you really truly have to think about what you can do to be better. Like, the reason why the Kobe Bryants and the Michael Jordans were so good was because they didn't allow the outside to affect them. They were always really cool on the court. Their emotions were never, again, you go to the emotions, they don't come to you. Whereas LeBron is like hushing the crowd, right? So there's a difference. That's why they compare the two.
They said LeBron wasn't a cleaner. He was a closer, but not a cleaner. So the
cleaner.
ultimate in the book, Relentless, is a cleaner.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, the guy said he knew, and he trained all the best. He trained Jordan and Kobe and Dwayne Wade. He said he knew LeBron wasn't a cleaner because he was on his home court and he was telling the crowd to quiet down during a foul shot. He said Michael and Kobe Michael took a foul shot with his eyes closed one time.
Right. So with the zone, right? We talk about the zone. So that's the zone, and that's a dark side. Like, you know, you're driven by something different. And LeBron would hush the people at his own home court. So if he was affected by the outside so much, you know, it would prevent him from performing at his best. Whereas the Kobe Bryants and the Michael Jordans weren't affected by that. They just, you know, I'm here, I'm in my zone, and I'm driven by that. So I just want you to be aware of, if you start to breed that spirit of lack or comparison, it will literally create more scarcity in your business and more lack in your business, more lack in your life, because that's what you focus on, right? What you focus on, you find it expands, it gets bigger. And if you're focusing on that comparing, you will find lack, because you'll start to think, well, what don't I have that they have? And those people, how did they get that many signups and I only got this many? And all of a sudden, it's just robbing you of your ability to produce. And I just want to make one comment about David made a post yesterday, and it was of him speaking on stage, and it was the story that our friend Marty Young shared with us, who he's known for longer than I've known David. And Marty said to David in the lobby, he's like, you know, I sat there in the crowd today listening to you speak, and I had a flashback from about 10 years ago of where one of the last times I saw you, you said that you were saving up for a pair of True Religion jeans. Now, if any of you know what True Religion jeans are, they're maybe, what, $200?
Yeah.
And I was, my chin hit the floor, because I was like, whoa. I mean, and he, like, literally months saving for these jeans, not like the week, like saving for these jeans. And that was probably right before I met David. But just so you guys know, there was a time, even before we got married, that these were things that I thought about. I was like, how are we going to provide for our family? How is, you know, personal training going to provide for our family? And there were times when I was worried, because I knew that that's the financial place that we were in. And I also saw the guy that you see on stage when David speaks, or that you see here, before he did. And I also knew the same guy that Marty, Daddy, okay, that Marty spoke of saving up for the True Religion jeans. I knew that guy. That's the guy I married, but that was the guy at my wedding, but this was the guy I married right here. Do you understand that? The other guy that Marty spoke of was at my wedding, but this was the one I married, because every day I knew, like, how do we get better? What do we do differently? How can I pour more into my husband and have him believe what I see is possible, what I see as his capacity? So when you're working with somebody, and you're working with your spouse, or you're working with someone on your team, or whatever it is that you're doing, even if it's unrelated to this, like, where's the capacity? What's the capacity you see? And continue to pour into that. But again, they have to match it. They have to be willing to go. This would have never occurred. This would have never occurred if not only didn't he just listen to me, but he believed it. And he matched my energy, because he used to tell me the same things when I was, you know, finding the opposite of progress with my perfectionism. Never getting anything done, because I was like, it's not perfect enough. It's not right enough. Like, I can make this prettier. I can make it greater. I can impact more. Like, you'll never get anything done that way. He'll never get anything done that way. Like, great at starting something, terrible at finishing. Terrible, terrible, terrible. But we have to be willing to look at our spouse and look at our accountability partners and look at you guys in the eyes and go, yo, brother, like, you're not getting anything done. And no one else is going to tell you that but me. You're not getting anything done. And then you wake up 70 years from now, and why does my life not change? How do I call this a life? Groundhog Day. Do you guys know, ironically, that David and I joined Isogenics on Groundhog Day, and we didn't know it until 2 years after we had joined? It was like, crap, February 2nd, we joined on Groundhog Day because we were in the midst of our own. How ironic. That's what I didn't want. I didn't want a Groundhog Day. Not with my marriage, not with my kids, not with my financial thermostat, not with you, not with anything, not with my career. And so you guys have to get what we're saying here. No matter how hard it got, even when weeks would go by and we didn't do anything, we still looked at each other and was like, okay, we haven't done anything for 2 weeks, and it shows. And it shows. Call yourself out on your own crap, because most people on the planet won't. Not by anyone else, not by themselves. And you're not going to get anywhere by that. Ever. Ever. So whether it's 90 days from now, 6 months, or a year, what's going to change? What are you going to do differently? Compound effect, guys. The first day on the treadmill and the 90th day on the treadmill. On the treadmill till you die.
Well, I hope we've given you some things to think about. Remember, it's the belief. If you don't believe it, then you've already lost. Okay, so put it in your head, build it one thing at a time, and then get after it. We believe in all of you. We believe in all of you. If any of you guys have ever come to us, you know we've been there for you, and we will continue to be there for you. But I want you to want it for yourselves, and I want you to think about that today. Carry this message with you. Think about what you're going to do, and let's all build on it. I want you guys to have a great day. And I want to thank you for joining us this morning.
Bedhead and all.
Get out there and love on yourselves and love on somebody else. Have a wonderful day.